tough iron base. Tough iron base. Yes, l'chana Oruch mi'ba'od yom. Tough iron base. I don't know, page iron test on base in my mind. Yes, l'chana Oruch mi'ba'od yom k'dei lechol miyad kishetechshach. When do you have to start the Hillel Seder? Did I say something wrong?
Where do you start? Where's Oruch starting? Okay.
Let's do follow. How's that for?
I heard some different words.
Okay. Maybe I said something wrong. But I am where I am.
Okay.
Okay. Tough line base of Aleph. Yesh l'chana Oruch mi'ba'od yom. You should have your table set early. Kedei lechol miyad kishetechshach. Now, the first thing I have to say is from the most excruciating thing about the Hillel Seder is to get it started. For some reason, no matter how much preparations and whatever it is, for some reason, it always finds reason for you not to start like you planned. Now, I just would like to share with you something which I do, and I started doing this probably about 10 years ago, and I believe it's a very good idea. That's why I haven't stopped doing it. It's not my minig, it's just my practice. I prepare all the kazaysim beforehand. Now, in my house, as you probably could imagine, not everybody's kazayis is the same size. I actually dictate to everybody how much they have to have and how machmir they should be. If someone wants to be more machmir than that, that's at their own risk. Mm-hmm. But there are kazaysim prepared in advance, and they have names on them, and they're brought that table that's brought to the table is with the average house that has 10 people by the Seder. That's probably an average Seder. Is that about right? Oh, what? How many people do you have in your Seder? 10. But 10 people is like 20 people is a lot, and to size them for 10 people takes time. It takes time. So in my house, we have it all arranged in advance. Then we can fight about it later. But we have it all arranged in advance. And even though this is not, it's after Magid, but it's also before Chatzois, it's an important concept. If you can work it out, that's fine. If you can't, that's also fine. But the main thing is that we should start the Seder on time.
My wife found many years ago, not just the maps, we also prepared
the egg.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
We measure it out beforehand.
And you dip it into the choresis beforehand? And you do, what does that help you to do tomorrow?
We do another more continuation.
Why is that a problem?
No, it just falls apart. How does it?
Measure it out and then put it in the bag.
Yeah, okay. Well, basically, I'll just tell you, I don't find the more to be a thing to do if you have one leaf does a job, basically.
The sizes are measured the shear.
What?
You need a certain shear of marks.
I understand. Fine. If you need, fine. You can do it from more to be a more doesn't matter. And if a little bit more, a little bit less of the lettuce, it's not going to kill anybody's stomach. That's not the issue.
Kids disagree.
What?
My kids disagree.
Okay. So, but the main thing is you should start miyad kishetechshach. Miyad and kishetechshach is there are people who want to have early Shabbos, and that's fine. We'll discuss this some other time. There's no early Seder. Now you can maybe daven earlier on Leil Seder, and the truth is, since nobody is recording this year, I would say it could be even a good idea, because if you daven early, a few minutes early, like 15 minutes early, then could be you could get home and start Seder early Shabbos. If we were daven Ma'ariv, let's say at Shkia time, when will we finish? About 25 minutes after Shkia. It's hollow, right? Until you get home, it's 35 minutes after Shkia, right?
No one does.
Not here either. If you have someone come to that's crazy idea, I'll say, tell you who this need to. But theoretically, you could daven early. You just can't have Seder early. Okay, now why can't you have Seder early if you can have your Shabbos meal early? There are many opinions on the subject, and it just the simplest answer is that the Mishnah Berurah says even in Hilchos Shabbos that possibly you should have a kazayas when it's dark on regular Shabbos. Over here it says Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh. There's a drash in the pasuk. You're supposed to eat your matzah when it's night. Making early Shabbos, I want you to know, does not affect the sun. The sun is still up. Okay, you don't change the sun. So even though Kedusha Shabbos is ushered in early, but it's not the next calendar day. It's not night. And just for you to understand this in practical terms, if a baby was born on Friday afternoon after you made Kiddush, his bris will be, your child was born on Friday afternoon after you made Kiddush. Where will you make a bris for him? Wasn't he born on Shabbos?
No.
Wasn't it after Kiddush?
Kiddush, Shabbos free, but wasn't done.
But the answer is that it's Shabbos, but it's not Saturday, so to speak. It's Kedusha Shabbos, your Moisef your Moisef Kedusha ala Chol, and it's Shabbos, but it doesn't make it and do that. You just have to make Kiddush when it's Shabbos, but it doesn't have to be night. Two things are not necessarily, don't always go together. This is true. That's what I said. But the others who say that the Arba Kaisis goes together with the matzah. It's all the mitzvah after the matzah. Good question. That's it. There's nobody that will say otherwise. But as my Shrer should be well would say, it's not worthwhile to play that game. But theoretically, it's possible to. But I just why do I say that today? A different subject. I said rabbis have a responsibility to be responsible. They don't have just the responsibility to say the halach. Now, my example of this is if someone were to ask me, are you allowed to keep your silverware, your milchiks and fleishiks in the same drawer? The answer is yes. If you do that where you have a kosher kitchen, the answer is no. So when someone asks me, do I have to have separate drawers for my milk and fleishiks? So the answer is yes. It's not even good advice. There's certain things which, seichel. You have to have seichel, right? But it's not halacha. Halacha doesn't assume we don't have seichel. For some reason, halacha schools we have seichel. So, but whatever. So there's certain times that I know that if the rabbi would say something which is mutter, so it doesn't take much for. I guarantee you that it won't take long for somebody to do it wrong. So that's why I think that the reason why it's not done. So I do believe it's, in theory, a very good idea to do.
So what would happen if someone decided he wanted to start the Seder as soon as possible. He decided to daven Ma'ariv on their own at the first time afterwards, and then start the Seder. They're doing an Aveda with it, like mitzvah Bobby Aveda, or
I'm going to answer your question to the best of my ability. One of the challenges which I get about every 2 months as a month. And I said, you wonder if I would let you or do I advise it? So he says, what do you mean? So I said, you probably obviously want to cut because, you know, the mitzvah is a shlucha, and it's just the mitzvah possibly is just for the father, it could be somebody else, that mitzvah is going to be lost. Yeah. That's what Mama Shaldim said. So, right. So just answer me one question. Do you think that Rabbi Yashiv and Rabbi Shlomo Zalman didn't know that? Or do you think you have more Yirah Shamayim or Avos Hashem than they did? For some reason, they didn't do that, right? So here's the snag. Obviously, they felt that done by a professional is more important. See? With what's more. No, what is it that they didn't know that you know? Okay? So now I say that in seriousness. You know, I didn't say somebody says they want to, Misha Takesh, I do how much I said. We're just saying that I don't believe it usually comes from the right place. Okay? So now this idea which I said now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to invent this, and we don't see that Gedei Yisrael did it. So we don't do it.
I've got about people's minhagis of the town, and they'll say that they also keep that, or they,
of course.
So they'd stop their Seder half an hour later than people that not know it that way.
I'm totally lost. What is the problem?
Are they keeping Rabbeinu Tam?
Well, no, it's how much time. There's not a race. Our obligation is to maximize the amount of time that's available. I do not know, even though that, it's not much of a difference because Pesach is Be'erech at the equinox. But I do not know anybody decided to go someplace where the days are longer in order to have the Seder. Right? It's not a solstice, but theoretically, if you're not lies like a big time, that's what we gave you. You're not going to do more than that. I'm going to go to outer space.
No, I'm just wondering if they keep it because they hope that they're keeping it as a chumrah, in which case...
If they keep it as a people who keep Rabbeinu Tam, that's they hold. Right. Somebody who has it as a chumrah, so then you have a chumrah. Now you want to know, listen, this is, I don't really want to get bogged down on this subject, but this is like a very important subject. How long does Maggid have to be? It doesn't need to be more than about a minute and a half. How do I know? It's Mufurish Nagodo. How long does it take that 3 paragraphs?
So what's the need about these children coming?
I ask you, how do you need to be Yitzhak?
I don't know, I'm just confused because the children came to tell me
how
so it's obviously tense.
That you could do more. You could do more. Could be it is. You could do more. How long? I'm going to share this with you, and I don't think I'm just saying this 1,000 times. I was once asked by a lady, why is it that my kids are so fanatic and they have to eat only b'das? So I asked the lady, how long should a Shabbos meal take? So I think the Shabbos meal should take somewhere between 45 minutes to 2 hours. Somewhere in there, I believe we've got about 80% of the Klal so that range I have no complaints. But that's including benching. So, and I said, how long do you eat the sandwich? You need more than that for your Shabbos meal? Are you yaitza? Is that a Shabbos meal? No. But which halacha you over? You don't have any halacha, you just didn't have a Shabbos meal. Right? So the kashrus also is levels. This is the night where we try to do as much as we can. We're not trying to just pass. So we do as much as I can in the slot that we have allotted to us. And we're trying to maximize the slot. That's what it says over here. So whatever is called your night, do as much as you can in that night. All right. It's a mitzvah to hurry up and eat in order that the tiroigish lo yishnu. Now,
what about the parents? That's a strong statement.
Well, excuse me? What does excuse me? So, what does meshubach mean?
You should be praiseworthy.
Okay.
That's it?
That's what you said, not me, right? It's true, and it is meshubach. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that, and this is the question of how much time to be spent. How much time to be spent at Magid? How much time to be spent at Shulchan Aruch? There's time a lot in questions. I don't want to get involved in them right now. Maybe a few years ago we gave a share on this subject. But why are we in a big rush? So it says the Machaber, because you don't want the children to sleep. Let me tell you something. I'm right now quoting to you a Sharet Tziyah, which I'm sure this question occurred to all of you, and you're going to be very surprised at the Mishnah Berurah's answer to this question. Even children who fall asleep make it to Manishtana. I mean, they get up to even the Arba Banim. Hisham did a suffix, right? But what?
What's the Tiachat Sderah?
I said even after that.
Yeah, after Tiachat Sderah.
All right.
Looking for things.
Okay, but saying so. The question is, what is the problem? Okay, we don't want to take it. They already asked. Where it's Sion, which is very moving. I don't know. Every year I try to set my Seder. What's the answer? So I said, well, if I was time, I said, yeah, very nice. What's the answer? How does the answer the question? And every year we have different trials at this question. Even the ones who answered it last year and are frustrated by the question, they're still frustrated. You have to know how to answer the question. So I'm going to read right now a Sharet Tziyah, the end of Sharet Tziyah, Beis, if I'm not mistaken. If I can find it in this fancy edition. Ve'efsher od loymar. V'kavanas ha'mechaber. The shaper yesh lemaher lagia l'dei moitzi matzah. You have to hurry up to get to moitzi matzah. Why? We want them to ask the question when it's happening. We want to talk about it when it's happening. Been there, done that. If I translate in B'kach Kum, that's a good translation. Okay. Why? The Iker Hashela v'Hatmiya Shel Tinok Hu B'Shah Sharoya Ma'isam Eino. Speeches. Example. They can rattle off the whole Manishtana, and then they see it. Oh. Now I understand the question. right? But here we said something fascinating, that it's not enough, and this is something I would like to drive home. And I don't think they say it enough. I say that chinuch, the age of chinuch, does not mean the age that a child can regurgitate information. Chinuch, a parent is not can say everything over flawlessly. I don't believe. So I'll answer your question. That it depends on what subject. And this is explained in Chazal. There's the age of chinuch, and then there's chinuch for the churban habayis. It's at a different age. You know why? Because that concept is more to be able to process it, even though saying over a story about something that happened, but to understand loss is very difficult. It's very difficult. It's easier for me to understand gaining than it is to understand having lost. The feel of loss. That's a very deep thought. Imagine if you were 7 years old. You could understand it. Right. So that's why they're not for the churban. They don't get it. They can say it over. They don't get it. All right. Anyways, but
at least you know who's talking about 100 bar mitzvah.
3 weeks ago, told me said the truth at less and goes to 35 nowadays.
Okay.
But
there are places where bar mitzvah is referred to, you know.
I don't really know the answer to the question. I would have never asked the question, but I don't understand the difference. The bottom is that we want people to connect cognizantly to what's going on around them. Some people at 35, they're not there, right? I don't know if it makes any difference. The bottom line is that when a person sees something, does something, it has a greater impact on him than when he. That's all. That's what it says. And out of that, it's negea. I would just like to share with you a halachic thought, important. And I saw from my father, there are many agadas that say that you should of Leitzi until some machmirim go until after what? I said machmirim. Tzafun.
What's in the middle?
Only divrei Torah things are shaykh to the meal, because the bracha of Moitzi Matzah, according to some, goes on tzafun, right? So have a long meal, much less lashon hara. Anyways, so it should go until tzafun, but most people are aware that you're not supposed to talk until after Kairach, right? Mm-hmm. What about speaking about why do you eat Kairach, asking kids questions? Is it mutter or aser? Who has a raya?
We say.
That's it says, that's text.
So what? That's why we
know.
That's why
I know what I asked.
Why we're eating.
I asked, can I prime my kids and ask them questions? Rabbi say, all of you should go. Yeah. What did we just learn? And it's happening. Right? That's what we just said, right? Okay, been there, done that. So that means that anything which is relevant, and not that I need a raya, I don't need a raya. But if you're going to force me to have to give you a raya, I think it's implicit in this Mishnah Berurah that we want them to be asking questions. You can't say, "Hi, is that the people we're talking about?" You go, is that what you're supposed to be doing? He's doing the right thing. You're doing the wrong thing. Don't get caught in the trap. Okay, we're just pointing out this nakuda.
So he's asking questions, and you're here excited about it, and you can't talk anyway. So.
Okay. All right. All right. Anyway, I'm just pointing out this is a very important sharatziyah as far as understanding what's supposed to be going on, the anatomy of what's supposed to be going on at the Leil Seder. Liquid.
We made a link about starting to say as soon as possible. Link. Starting to say as soon as possible, and the fact that the children should not go to sleep. So let's suppose there's a situation where the oldest child you're going to have at the Seder is 4-year-old. So he's not going to really ask for
the kid that's 4 years old can go to sleep from before they start the Seder.
Right. So in that case, if that's the only oldest child you've got there, then there's no reason to rush and start early.
True. There are other. Yeah, there are other. That's no. Right. Can ask that question. Still, there's an Indian to be required to start the Seder on time, which is. But your question is well accepted. It's a good question. Okay, but it's not. There's a question of Mavatula Seder. There's other things you. It's a very, very important to start on time. Okay.
So is there any into short Magi?
I'm not.
I don't know what we can conclude with this.
The answer is that we would like everything that we should have in mind that there's a benefit to have the kids ask questions when the things are being done. And if you'll get that, if you shorten Maggid, I think that's true, yes. Not only that, my father's a Chumafanacha. So why are we in a big slowdown? You could ask all the questions you want during Shulchan Aruch. This was a child, and I said to him, that's a very good shtickle Torah, but for some reason it doesn't work. When you're in the middle of Shulchan Aruch, the brain doesn't work on exactly all those usual shivim shanim. It doesn't work when you're. So if I say so, train your brain, right? No reason why we shouldn't have the kizaysim before that.
Family's brains. It's not just yours.
I want to tell you something.
Technically, it doesn't.
I know it's true, but these are things which you can make an evolution in. And if you talk about it in advance, this is what we're going to try to do. And I would say down. And you can say that, you have this amount of time for your question, and the rest of we could have your leftover time in Shulchan Aruch. But I just share with you, in my house, my personal Shulchan Aruch takes about 15 minutes, the whole thing. Not much going on. You have to finish Chatzos. Even though when I was a kid, that wasn't what happened in my parents' house, but I got older, that what did happen. So it doesn't have to take so long. And not only that, if you do Maggid properly, there's plenty of time to ask questions and have discussion. You just have to keep your eye on the clock also. All right. Anyways.
The problem with that is the fact that it depends.
I didn't hear you.
It depends on how many kids are actually sitting at the table and the age of it. Because they've sat and learned for the last month all the Divrei Torah, and everybody wants to give. All the kids want to give it. They'll sit there with 50 pages of Divrei Torah, and depending on how many kids are there, each one wants to give something.
Right.
Yeah. And that takes them then a lot of time. Can you say, no, you can't do it, and you can't do it? They've been sitting there for a month learning all this stuff.
Okay. So what would you want? You want to add, let's do it this way. I'm going to run with your children there. Each one has 5 pages of notes. They all want to say Kiddush by themselves and Manishtana by themselves.
And need all the notes.
What's that? Okay? Forget their notes. How long is the Kiddush and Manishtana is going to take?
It'll take a while.
Okay? Now, what I suggest, somebody who has those kind of things, and I'm saying, I'm speaking to you because you're the one who asked the question, you're the grandfather. So you will approach your grandchildren beforehand and say that we know we only have a certain amount of time. Those other different terms that you have, you are going to come to me from 2 days before Pesach, and you're going to tell them to me and keep out of your mother's hair. Okay? You're going to come to me and tell them to me. We'll spend the time together. We'll research it. We'll enjoy it. And you'll give your children what they need. Your grandchildren what they need.
That is very practical.
You're what?
It is very practical, what you're saying.
But in other words, your question is a very good question, but your question, even without me saying anything, you're going to have a problem. Because while kid number 6 is doing his 4th page, the other guy is smashing matzahs over his brother's head, right? Right? So you're going to have to figure this out without the halacha, right? You can't have it all. Okay. Where are we?
That's the kind of problems when you have a few Shaki Shuvachim who want to go on and on, and they have a
So that's it. So this is we make this. I want to tell you something. I have a rule. We make up rules. At least we try to make up rules before the incidents happen. This is a rule which I try as much as I can. How many aliyahs? How many this? What you do? All of these things are decided before the eventuality happens, so that when the eventuality happens, the person should think taking on him because I can show you it's in the right. This is what? Yeah, but it's someplace. It exists. We go to where it exists. We do this, and we want everybody's participation to be able to execute as we need. So you're 100% right. But if you say beforehand, they don't take it like trying to shut them down. And they understand that you're trying to create an environment that's amiable for everybody. I'm with you 100%. Okay. Anyways, the Seder Shulchana Yafa Bekelim Nam Gefi Kocho. You have to set up. You're supposed to set up, and you should have your haseba chair there. But everything should be set up. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Where is it? You're not doing it to show off. You're not doing it to show that you're a man with possessions, but you're trying to show lecheres.
You just take all the silver and go and have in the house and put it on the table.
No, but I pointed out something different. What was the percheres? What did the Maral say? Is that the same thing? I don't think so either. All right. Now this is also discuss this discrepancy. Anyways, I just V'yesha b'seba, v'tzad alayma roisha mutal etzad small alamita alatzavso, v'kari v'tachas roisha eitz ala shulchan. This line of Mishnah Berurah is one of the most painful Mishnah Berurahs in the whole Sefer. If somebody over here could explain what we just said, what does a seiba look like? You're probably going to have a stiff neck.
We do.
What?
We do.
Okay. I'm sheriff, right? So it's very good.
I think also depends if someone's shorter, it's easier to do it because they're closer to the chair to the leaner.
No, I'm not talking about that. What is a person? Again, I'm going to read the words. Roishoy muta al tzad alamita. Oyal salso. You're leaning on the left side. The korim tachas roishoy. And there are pillows under your head. Eitzel shulchan.
On the table. You get the airplane pillow.
No, he's talking about a couch. He's talking more about a couch than a chair. That way you can really lay down if it's, the old-fashioned couches.
Well, you know what? I'm not arguing with you. Did how much time ever see our chairs? How are we supposed to make a saving?
I don't think his chairs are that different.
That was a facetious statement. I'm aware of that.
Leaning on the back of the chair.
What?
Leaning on the back of the chair.
Where's your head?
You lean on a cushion like this, but it's just uncomfortable and not practical to eat. That's the problem. It's very hard to do.
It's very hard to have a pillow under your head supporting your arm.
Yeah.
You have it easy. You could.
No, the old days, these have like couches.
No, I understand. So this becomes the question.
It's very technical how to be cherus. That's the irony there.
Well, that we'll learn in a minute about the shittas haviyah. But I'm not right now discussing if we are mechuyev in it, if we enjoy it. What does it look like? Okay. Now, if one were to see the Haggadah from Rabbi Yashiv more or less did this in our chairs. Yeah, some fascinating thing. But Sternbach has a whole thing about this, how this is really done. But most people don't do a seiba, at least according to what the Mishnah Berurah says, the way it should be done. But if you read this Mishnah Berurah, we'll just leave it at that. It's a tzarech koach gadol to do a seiba properly.
Isn't a seiba ma'akev certain things?
Yes.
So there's not a problem.
Yes, that's what I'm pointing it out.
I mean, it's not just doing that right. I written Balakosas correctly.
Correct. That's correct. Now, I will say, the Shittas Haraviyah says that nowadays we're parted from a seiba because it's not derech for us. We don't rely on the Raviyah except for women, which they are parted anyways. That's more or less the bagadol of what comes out of halacha. And I believe that because of that, we're a little bit mako on a little bit, we call it more of a symbolic seiba.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that's what Rabbi Yashiv says, that you have your hair the same without any kind of a prop.
Why your head on the head?
Not just
Your head. Yeah. Well, maybe for next week we'll bring in there's a very big problem how to make it safe nowadays. Just pointing it out. According to many, that person can't be Yetzer Seiba at that time.
The one you're leaning on, or the one
Yeah.
who's leaning on?
The one that you're leaning on. Because he's not their Cheres, he's the Shevut.
Yeah, but
I'm not joking.
But then you have the whole line of kids that they're all leaning on each other. So the last one.
I didn't tell you to have dynamos by your Seder.
Everybody has to have a lounge chair. That's official.
Okay. Well, I can't hear you.
Everybody should have a lounge chair.
A lounge chair. The lounge chair doesn't really help you so much because you're on your side.
Yeah, if you have 40 grandchildren in the dining room, you don't have room for lounge chairs.
Exactly. I know.